joining today. We are with, we have three student / graduate co-hosts today. So we've got Patrick, Simone and Tiffany. And then we also have Leo Young, who is the founder of Good Nugget, and he's going to be talking to you today about how to prepare for a career in the creative industry. So what I'll do is I'll hand over to Leo, and then along the way, if you have any questions at all, please feel free to put them in the chat along the way. And then after Leo's finished speaking, Patrick, Simone and Tiffany can read those out for you and for Leo to answer. Or if you prefer to kind of ask the question yourself, just use the reaction button at the bottom to kind of raise your hand, and then one of the guys will kind of like mention your name to unmute and go ahead and ask it. So yeah, introducing Leo, over to you.
Oh, nice to meet everybody. Hope everyone's good. Who else is melting in this heat? Cool. So thank you for having me. I am gonna just tell you a bit about my background, so how I broke into the industry, what I do, and a little bit about Good Nugget. The difference about Good Nugget is that obviously that we are not just an agency, but we also use our time and profits to support the creator community. So we launched a mentoring program. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about a mentoring program, and then I'm going to finish off with giving you some insight on how to break into the real world. So I'll give you the opportunity to ask any questions at any time. So feel free to get involved and ask me whatever you want. I'm going to kick off with just a little exercise, which is great for everybody to practice. And this is an exercise to think about when you're promoting yourself or when you're going to a job interview. So you've got to think about self-promotion is really key to selling yourself when you're going for a job. And it's really great to kind of list out your positive attributes or kind of personal achievements in kind of your workspace and career, so that you know what makes yourself different to everyone else and how you can kind of nail and get that job. So it's a great exercise. I know it can be really uncomfortable sometimes being confident and talking about self-promotion, but it's something to get comfortable with being uncomfortable with. So list it out and always think about this as when you're going for a job, like what makes you different? What makes you stand out? What are your key skills? Just some things that I listed out quickly were sort of, I am a designer by first and foremost. I think I wrote in the chat that I went to Farnham about 15 years ago. I graduated and did a graphic communication course. I'm an idea generator. I'm really passionate about creative ideas, inspirational speaker, which is why I'm here talking to you right now. One thing that I always say when I do these talks is that I'm still learning. I don't have all the answers, and I don't say I'm necessarily right, but I'm always willing to learn. I'm always super inspired by everybody. So your point is just as important as what I have to say. I'm a mentor, a positive impact advocate, and a founder. I'm a real team player. I believe in collaboration. If you work with me or have worked for me in any agency, you know that I'm really passionate about bringing the whole team on. I don't think there's ever a bad idea. I just think that it's never, just probably not for the right brief. So I'm all about positivity. I'm never negative. If a client would be like, can you get this done by tomorrow? I'll be like, yeah, I'm sure. I wonder why I said that. I'm just too kind of positive and always think that something could be done. I'm a creative leader, award winner, one of few awards in my career. So definitely don't be afraid to shout about your personal achievements, however big or small. You know, these are great selling points for when you go for a job. Diversity advocate, which is why I launched a creative mentoring program. Educator, why I'm here. Super passionate. You'll notice that about kind of mentoring diversity, creativity, I'm always really passionate. And one thing that you get from me is that I'm super honest. You don't get any BS. So that's a really, really quick snapshot of myself, and definitely a good tip and tool to try yourself, especially just before you're going for an interview, to think about what makes you different, why are you good for this job, and why and how can you land this job. So try that. So I've obviously said quite a few times that I've been doing this for quite a while, 15 years in the industry. I've designed a lot of stuff. I am specialized in branding and packaging, and predominantly more luxury and premium branding and packaging. So this is just a really, really quick snapshot of some of the stuff I've designed in my career. But it kind of took me to a place where I kind of finished designing and I decided to launch Good Nugget. So what happened was that I kind of reached a bit of a light bulb moment in my last agency, where I felt that I wanted to do a little bit more than just sort of do design for general brands, which is where Good Nugget kind of came from. So I did is that I launched an agency, but I wanted to launch an agency with a difference, and that's where Good Nugget was born. So what we do is that we are a creative agency, but we're really specific about which kind of brands that we want to work with. So we're passionate about working with what we call positive impact brands. And these brands are ones that think about how they affect people and the environment. So we're really conscious about who we want to associate ourselves with and who we want to support. So no disrespect to all of the amazing work that I've done in my career. It's been an amazing journey to work on lots of amazing different projects. I have literally designed ham for Tesco's to, at one point, to something that could be a shampoo bottle, to helping Coca-Cola do a campaign. So I've really done quite a lot of different kind of stuff in my career. But then there was a light bulb moment where I decided to launch Good Nugget. And that's where I got to right now. So we are part agency, and we like to call ourselves, we're an agency social enterprise, basically. So what we do is that we don't just do creative work for brands, but we also give back, which is why I'm here now talking to you, and also why we launched a creative mentoring program. As I said at the beginning of sort of the session, we are unlike any other agency. What we do is that we use our time and profits to support the creative community. So I was just on another call before this where we have launched a 5-week creative course for a charity to support young people to build these creative hubs, to give them kind of tools to kind of break into the creative industry. So I work with lots of different charities, organizations, schools, different organizations to help educate people and give them a better understanding of the creative industry. So not just design, but we also give back. But who else is on our team? So it's myself. We're a very small team. Good Nugget is an agency that was born out of a pandemic. So I actually left my job, and I had already handed in my notice a week before we hit the pandemic last year. So literally just before we went into lockdown, my last day was a week before we went into full lockdown. So we are a startup agency. We're very new, and we're still kind of finding our feet. We're still learning, as I say, we're still doing a lot of things, but there's a core team of 2 people. I couldn't do this without these 2 women. They're absolutely amazing. Amy, who's our head of partnerships and culture, she helps me handle everything on the creative community side. So basically anything to do with partnering up with different unis and schools, or kind of how we support different kind of organizations, and through to helping me run the program in itself. She helped me sort of write the program and help sort of organize everything to do with it. On the other side of the business, I have the amazing Abby, who I have worked with about 3 times. We've kind of crossed paths in our career about 3 different times in different agencies. So she is our client director. So she helps me handle anything on the client services side. So anything from liaising with clients to new business. So that's our core team. But how we work is that as a startup, we do work as a collective model. For any of you who have done sort of placements or worked at agencies, you know that it takes a lot of people to create a piece of design. So we tailor our team to when we get a specific job. So we bring in designers, art workers, strategists, whoever we need when we want to help us kind of bring the job to life. So we have built up a network of many talented kind of people who can help us kind of bring work to life. So we have a core team, but we do kind of outreach with freelancers and have them kind of support us when we do need them. So we have the ability to flex the size of our company and work with many talented people. So that's a little bit about kind of the core team. I thought that you might like to know what kind of work we do actually. So who are our clients? I spoke a little bit about we're quite picky about who we want to work with. And obviously being called Good Nugget, the name was inspired by the fact that I wanted us to have the word good, or a word that kind of reflected what we do. So that's where good came from. Then the idea of the nugget was that I was kind of brainstorming, and I was doing name generation, and then the nugget idea came from was that a nugget is a rare piece of gold. So I don't know if you've ever been in a brainstorm or kind of been in a creative meeting or any kind of chat where you're trying to come up with creative ideas. You kind of say, oh, actually, we found that little piece of that nugget piece of information. So kind of put those 2 words together, and that's where Good Nugget came from. Whenever we work with a client, we call it good credentials. So we make sure that they want to do good. And what we mean by that is that we want to make sure that we're working with brands that are really thinking about how they affect the people in the environment, not just the brand themselves, but the project that we work on, that we're trying to help them with, is affecting the people in the environment in a positive way. So everything we do is that we want to try to create, it's a big thing to try to say, but we're trying to do better and trying to, if we are going to do design, how can we do it in the best possible way? How can we put it out into the world that it affects people better? How can we make sure that it's affecting the environment positively? So that's what we do. Being a startup agency, quite a lot of the work that we're doing has not been launched, but I am going to give you a sneak peek into the type of work that we're doing and who we're working for. So one of the projects that we're working on at the moment is a direct-to-consumer shipper. So as you know, throughout the pandemic, or even not in the pandemic, anybody who has ever ordered anything online, it may come in awful packaging. So a client of ours has come to us and said, we want to create a packaging that arrives at the consumer and also has wow factor and also has eco credentials. So we're helping a drinks brand come up with a direct shipper that is like eco-friendly, but also has wow factor, it's Instagrammable and it's memorable. So that's packaging. We are also working on an ethical beauty brand, and this is a brand creation job. So starting from scratch, helping them come up with sort of the positioning of the brand, thinking about how it looks and feels, how the tone of voice of the brand is. So this really is sort of the start of a brand. So we're really helping someone create that voice that they put out, and also the look and feel of it. So graphics, language, communications, packaging, structure, labeling, exterior, secondary packaging, box as well. So we're doing all of that for a beauty brand. And then lastly, another project that we're working on is that we're working with a brand to help them with their retail communications. So a lot of brands out there might be doing good. So for instance, if it's a sustainable beauty brand, but sometimes their communications can get a little bit lost. So you go on their website, they're doing good, but you don't really understand it. It's quite confusing. That's what we're coming in to do. So this brand is already established. They're launching a retail space, but their branding is not quite on point. So we're going in and we're kind of helping them carve out what makes them unique and how can it really connect with the consumer. So that is a really, really quick intro to my background and what we do at Good Nugget. I was wondering if this would be a good point to see if there was any questions that you had about my background or what we stand for at Good Nugget before I move on to the next section. All good?
So I just have a quick question. Do you have like set criteria for a client? Is there like certain things that they must meet?
So basically we call them good credentials. So basically we want to make sure that if not everybody is, so what we have a saying in sort of the team that we want everybody to, what small steps make a big difference. So if collectively everybody tried to change a little thing, then it can make a big difference. So for instance, it could be a brand like Coca-Cola that comes to us and says, do you know what, we want you to help us make something a little bit more sustainable. That's a good credential. However, if they said to us, we want you to create packaging, we just want it to be cheap and we just want it to be whatever, but we don't care about materials, we don't care about that, we just want something, a packaging, for instance, then, and if the brand doesn't do good in itself, then that's almost like double negative. So what we want to make sure is that, right, does the brand do good? We call them good credentials. And is there an opportunity to do good with what we create? So with design, we have to design, like there's always brands that need help. There's always people always creating stuff. So we always say that if we can't help it do good, so for instance, with the DTC shipper, we're key on kind of creating something that has no glue, is all cardboard engineering, it's got reusability. So whenever we present something, we present them with good factors. So we say, right, there's levels of good factor. We want to say that you create this with no glue, it's reusable, so it's not thrown away. It has that wow factor that you want to keep and you can reuse it because it's all about producing less waste. So that's one part of it. Or the brand in itself could be an ethical beauty brand and we go, well, that seems like something that we would love to be part of. So there's lots of different factors, but it just depends on, it doesn't need to be a big step change. It could be, for instance, a beauty brand already comes to us and they say, do you know what, our labels are not like kind of environmentally friendly. Can you just help us source some materials? Then that's absolutely fine as well. So it's not about massive game changers. It's about kind of small steps and how we can help them do better. Does that make sense?
Awesome. Yeah, sounds sick. I really like it.
Cool. Is there any other questions?
Yeah, I've got one. Like, do you guys do anything with UX designers or anything like that?
You just missed a conversation before. So UX is obviously not something that I specialize in. So we specialize in branding and packaging. So what we do is that we do brand creation, but obviously I have an idea about sort of user experience. Of my job as a branding designer is to come up with how I want people to interact and see a brand. So we don't personally do UX design, but we do partner with UX companies and designers so that they can then offer that. But what we do is that we create and start with a kit of parts that then can be used for following touch points for different brands.
Okay, awesome. Awesome.
Anything else? No? Cool. Quiet. Okay. So I've told you a little bit about our agency. As I said, what we do is that we are an agency that gives back. I really wanted to create an agency that didn't just think about themselves. And I've been in the industry for a long time, and a lot of people I've worked with founders and people who own companies. And I felt that it was a lot of people just thought about themselves. So I thought, wouldn't it be a great idea if we had the opportunity to use our profits for good? I love nurturing talent. I love inspiring people. You know, if there was platforms and opportunities like this when I started out, I think this would have been amazing. It's about sharing information. I'm not a teacher, I'm not a coach. I'm just here to share my experience with you. And I don't say what I'm telling you is right or wrong. It's just, I'm just sharing my experience. And if that can help inspire you and help you do better, then that is amazing for me. So, which is why we launched a Creative Mentor program. And basically the whole idea of our mentor program was, in my whole time in the creative industry, is that they really lack diversity in the industry. And what I felt was that there's a real issue with young people, the type of young people breaking into the industry. So what I can do, I can't help support young people breaking into the industry, but what I can do is offer knowledge to people. And knowledge really is power. Just by understanding what tips and tricks, or where to go even to look for jobs, or what course to do, or what uni is good. All these little bits of information could be really key to helping somebody break into the industry. So I thought I had built up a big network of friends, and I thought, why not utilize my industry expert friends and pair them up with young people who have no idea what they want to do. So our mentor program is designed for young people 18 to 26. So they could be for people outside who's gone to university, who hasn't been to university. We really want to help represent people who are from minority backgrounds, but we're not exclusive. So we do support everybody, and we want to kind of give everybody the experience to be able to understand what it takes to break into the creative industry. So we launched that this year. It's a 12-week program where we basically interview and meet potential mentees, understand what they want, and then match them up with an industry expert. So we had, for our first program, over 150 young people apply, and that was amazing for sort of our first kickoff. And Amy went through every single application herself. And then what we did is that we did a short list of about 60 young people that we all personally met. How we did that was that we called it the matchmaking panel. So there was myself and 2 other people. So this young person would meet a panel. The whole point was that we would give everybody equal opportunity by meeting a diverse panel on whether we felt like they could benefit from the program. It wasn't anything scary. It was just an opportunity for us to meet them and just see that they would benefit from kind of being matched up with a mentor. So that's what we did. We did this for 12 weeks, and I just wanted to share some of the amazing facts that came out of this. As I said, like, what we want to do is be able to offer young people a better understanding of the creative industry, to understand, what does a job mean? I mean, I had no idea the amount of different roles that were in the creative industry. Like, what was a strategist? What's a copywriter? What was an art worker? What's a production director? You know, I had no idea any of this. A mentor can help you, give you insight into finding out what these actually are. I mean, I'm sure university and education systems change, but some people don't get the opportunity to go all the way through, but it's about offering knowledge so that they can understand what they want to pursue. Then 100% felt more confident to approach new opportunities. Opportunities don't just land on your doorstep, you need to go out and find them. And we know confidence is super difficult. So working with the mentor, all of our mentees felt more confident to go after new opportunities. And then another important thing is that when you are sort of starting your career and breaking into the industry, it's important to be able to create your own network. So not only did our mentees networked with their mentor, but they also networked with the cohort themselves of young professionals. So they also met the other mentors and networked with the young people. We created an Instagram chat where they all networked and kind of chatted. And then we had digital mixes where all mentors and mentees came together and met each other. So there were some really interesting chats. I think for instance, there was an aspiring fashion designer, and she was in a chat with a guy who ran a fashion magazine. He was like, oh my God, I love your clothes. I'd love to feature it. So opening up your network, you never know where our conversations can go. So just by coming on this mentoring program, we don't guarantee that you'll get work, but it just opens up more opportunities. Just some of the quotes that came back from sort of our first program. I think this is my favorite. I'm just going to read this. I learned more about myself and my career in 1.5 hours than I did at 4 years at uni. This was just like from working with their mentor for the first time that you met them. A common theme is like really boosting their confidence, really having the confidence to be able to go after new roles, or even just trying to understand what they should do. This is another great one. It's if 6 weeks is already having such a positive impact, another 6 weeks it will probably make me feel invincible. So that confidence that this mentor has given this young person is absolutely incredible. So such a confidence boost to understand what they really want to go after. It's so key and so valuable. Then just lastly, a mentor is not just someone that will work, might not be just someone that works with you for 12 weeks. I can say that one of my first bosses that I worked for at a design agency, she has become a lifelong friend and unofficial mentor. She's someone I go to for advice as well still now. So a mentor can kind of take you for just the 12 weeks and beyond. So that's a really quick snapshot into what our mentoring program can do. I was wondering if anybody had any questions regarding mentoring or where to find a mentor or anything about mentoring.
Yeah. My question is like, I hear you talking about like young people and helping young people and things like that. Unfortunately for me, like I went to university as a matured student. So like I was there I started when I was 35, and I'm now 37, and I'm just having difficulties like really trying to break into the industry and things like that. Hello?
So I think that's a really good point, because I do talk about young people quite a lot and say that opportunities for young people, our program is not exclusive. We look at every single application, and we understand that everybody reaches different places at different points in their lives. So I would say that don't let age is just a number. It doesn't mean that you still can't break into the industry. It doesn't mean that you can't have a mentor, you can't kind of get into that role. So in respect to our mentoring program, we're not exclusive, as I say. We will take on board anybody who is interested in learning more about the creative industry. We're not exclusive. I did not set this up to say I'm only helping a specific type of person. We set this up so that we can kind of help bring more knowledge to everybody who really needs it. And if that is where you feel that you could be supported by it, then definitely we would love to help.
Yeah, sure, definitely. I'd definitely like some
cool. And I think like if there's any advice that you ever want, like I'm actually going to come on to that in a bit about how to look for a mentor. Don't be afraid to personally reach out to people, or people that you're inspired by, or people that you want to work for. That is definitely something that's really kind of powerful as well. So I mean, I'll come on to that in a minute, so I won't talk too much about that right now.
There are 2 more questions for you, Leo. There's one in the chat, and then there's one that Millie's going to ask herself, I think, after. So the one in the chat is from Leah. It says, how frequently does the mentoring take place on the program?
So we are aiming to do 2 a year. So we launched one in January, and our next one's going to be launched in September.
Great. Does that answer your question, Leah? I hope so. Millie, did you want to ask something?
Yeah, please. Sorry, if you wouldn't mind. I was just going to ask, how would we get involved in being a mentee on your program? Just because I know you said it goes up to 26-year-olds. I'm actually going to be turning 27 in October, so will I still be able to join in if that's it?
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely, don't worry. So basically, we get a lot of people we email and just say, I'm a mature student, can I still apply? I'm like, yeah, of course. And obviously the criteria, the age range is just to give a guidance to kind of support. We talk about young people, and obviously when we talk about the age range, it's almost that this is the age range where people kind of, majority of people are figuring out their career, but we know that there are exceptions. A lot of people have very different paths, and age is, as I said, just a number. So feel free to apply. We get emails where people go, oh, like I'm like 27, can I still apply? I'm like, yeah, of course. It's just a box that you have to tick. We don't say that you have to be that age. We look at everything else and see how we can help you, and if we have a mentor who can support you as well. So age is irrelevant, really. It's just a soft guideline.
That's brilliant. Thank you so much.
I think it's hailstones now. Cool. Anybody else? Was there one more question?
No, I think that's all from the chat right now.
Okay. Cool. So how can you, well, if it's not just a mentor, how can you start preparing for the real world? I think, firstly, you have to be proactive. A job isn't just going to land on your lap. So how can you be proactive? Right. I'm going to start with 4 points today, and then feel free to ask any questions after. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about how to nail your CV and portfolio, how to raise your profile. I think someone asked about kind of, I spoke a little bit about this, and how to get networking. So networking is so important. You never know where a conversation can lead. You never know who's on this chat. Like, you might end up working together. You might end up meeting someone. You might their job might come out of it. You might collaborate on a job. So networking is absolutely integral. And then it's all about showing your own brilliance. I talk about self-confidence and talking about yourself and self-promotion, really, really important. So get comfortable with being uncomfortable about talking about yourself. So the first exercise that I talk about is a really good opportunity to think about how you are different to everyone else, or what uniqueness can you bring to the job role that you're applying for. So CV and portfolio, some tips are to keep it super simple. CVs, I have seen stuff that are super crazy. I think CV is an opportunity, yes, to show off your creative flair, but keep it simple, keep it to one page. If you're applying for a creative job, people get a lot of CVs landing on the desk. Make sure it's easy to read. If you're a graphic designer, show off graphic design. What do graphic designers do? They are visual communicators. If you're selling yourself as a graphic designer and it's hard to find information, you're already unselling your skill, because obviously it's difficult to find. So keep it simple, your CV. Make sure it's easy to read. I always say if you can keep it to one page, then keep it to one page, definitely. I mean, I guess a bit of an insider tip is that whenever a CV and portfolio landed on my desk, I always skip to the portfolio, and I look through that instead of looking at the CV, and then I come back to the CV after. So definitely keep it super simple so it's easy to read. And then show off your talents in your portfolio. I've seen a couple of illustrators create some really crazy, or graphic designers create some quite crazy CVs, which are super beautiful. But when you're reading a lot of CVs, you want to be able to find the information quickly. So save your key talent for your portfolio. Make it a PDF. It sounds like a simple one, but quite a lot of people, sometimes I've had like Word documents land on my desk. Make it a PDF. So really simple thing there. When it comes to your portfolio, tell a story. So what are you trying to communicate? We're all some sort of designer here who wants to break into the creative industry. What story are we trying to tell? What do we want the end person to get to understand? One thing that I always say to aspiring designers is think of the grandma test. So one thing is to think, if you were to hand a CV or portfolio to your grandma, or any piece of design, when you think of designing something, is it simple and easy to understand? would your grandma understand what you're trying to communicate? If there's a piece of design in your portfolio, make it easy to understand what your involvement it was, or what you designed, or what you're trying to show off. If it's overcomplicated, then the person looking at it will find it overcomplicated and probably go past it quickly because he's looking at so many different CVs and portfolios. Tailor your CV and portfolio. So I find that having a couple of CVs or portfolios, particularly portfolios, is really good. So look at the agency or the job that you're going after, pull out keywords that they're looking for, tailor it so that it's kind of the buzzwords that they're looking for. For instance, if you're going after a branding agency, don't send them a video reel. If that's your main port of call, like your main kind of selling point, you're going to have to show a little bit of branding work to kind of hook them in. Even if it's just one piece, just make sure that there's something that's relatable to that agency. So for instance, if it's kind of, I think a good thing is that when I used to tailor my portfolio is that I don't have much kind of work that's FMCG, which is like more fast moving consumables, which is like everyday design. It's quite luxury. So I would have to take out more luxury work so that it would appeal to the certain agency that I was kind of designing for, so they could understand that I could do the work that they wanted, and that I'm not just a luxury designer, I could do kind of other design as well. So it's great to have a couple of CVs and portfolios so that it can be tailored for different agencies. And I think that's where it goes on to making it relevant. So know who you're talking to. Think about what the agency is looking for. Think about what they would want to see. You may think that you may not have experience in that kind of sector. So for instance, if you're a retail designer, you want to get into branding, do some side projects, do a branding project, or call out to an agency whose branding that you love and ask them for old briefs and go, oh my God, like, I really love branding. I don't have any branding experience. If there's any old briefs that you have that you worked on previous clients, I would love an opportunity to have a go at this. That's an opportunity to get some relevant work in your portfolio. Then lastly, it is about showing off your skills and being unique. So it's an opportunity to be different. So don't be afraid to be different, because people do want to see that you can bring something different to the table. One tip that I will finish on in sort of CV and portfolio is that if you send it out one time and you get nothing back, don't think it's anything on yourself. It could be someone on the other side is super busy. They didn't see it the first time. When I landed my first job, I actually sent my CV and portfolio in 3 times before they even got me in for a placement. So I also evolved and changed my CV each time. I didn't keep sending them the same CV and portfolio. I thought, okay, what's not working? How can I make it better? How can it appear easier to understand? And I think I sent it out 3 times before they even invited me in for an interview. Any questions on CV and portfolios? No? Okay, so I'm going to move on to how to raise your profile.
Sorry, there's a question in the chat from Cheap. What makes a good graduate portfolio? And the side note to that is I'm not very experienced yet.
So I think, so it's actually going to come on to the next page, raising your profile. So using the dots is a great platform to kind of ask people for advice. So firstly, give it a good stab and ask your friends, and then ask people for advice. The dots is a great platform to ask people for advice in your portfolio. As a starting point, I think that as a junior designer, or like as a graduate designer, think about where do you want to work, or what kind of design that you would like to get into. If you have a passion for branding, then make sure that that shines through and that it is branding projects. Otherwise, a breadth of work is always good. It was interesting that I think we were chatting earlier and Simone was talking about that, you know, agencies are asking for more commercial work. I'm a true believer in creativity. Commercialism is something that you can teach later on. I want to see a graduate's portfolio is big ideas and something different. I want to be wowed by crazy ideas. Being commercial is something you can teach later. I want to bring in a designer who can give me the craziest idea and think outside the box. For me, I don't want someone who's safe. I want someone, especially if we're all designers, we want to create something that stands out. Being unique is important for me. So a range of creative work, standout ideas. Ideas are most important. I'm not worried about technical skills or how beautifully visualized or photographed or whatever that is. Technical skills are something that you can learn on the way, and being commercial. That is my point of view. I want to see beautiful big ideas, kind of thinking outside the box, a range of different ideas so that I know that you're kind of diverse in sort of the way that you think. Does that help?
Yeah, that really helps. Honestly, that was kind of reassuring to hear because it's
I mean,
nice to know someone's not.
I wasn't going to give you the answer when I spoke to you earlier because I was going to pick up on that point later, like now, because I have had quite a few people say to me that they've had issues coming out of university that their portfolio was too creative and that wasn't commercial enough. So for me, it definitely has got to be. So for instance, if it's branding and packaging, then at least it's got to be branding and packaging, but I want to see something that's thinking outside the box. I don't want to see something really safe. I want to see something that's like thinking towards the future, thinking about how it can disrupt, thinking about how, you know, I want to see you guys in the next generation of creatives. I want to know what will make you stand, what you think would stand out from the crowd. Who's buying this and how can it be different? I don't want safe. So commercial is generally safe because you're trying to make money from it. That can happen. People in the agency can help you create that because you've got account directors, project managers, and they'll be like, oh, we'll think about the consumer. You know, there's people within that can help carve out your ideas in a different way. So I want to see big ideas. So that's really important for me.
We have a few. No, that was really reassuring to hear as well, because it's nice to know someone's not only running after commercial experience and actually values great design, great ideas as well, because I was beginning to think otherwise. So that, and we have a few more questions. Someone was wondering if there's any advice on writing a successful cover letter and how long would you recommend for it to be?
So a cover letter literally is just, I would say that a cover letter needs to be really short as well. So obviously tailor it, don't make it too generic. Think about those points about what makes you unique. It's almost like your selling in point. So start with why you want to work with this company, big fan of their work, I love or talk about a recent project that you saw. We go, I saw the latest Coca-Cola advert you launched. I thought it was absolutely amazing. Like the cinematography was amazing. It'll definitely be something that I'd love to be involved with. So talk about something relevant. So always make it relevant. Talk about how you can be unique and a valuable asset to them, and keep it short. And then the portfolio and CV will speak for itself. The main thing is portfolio. So I wouldn't worry about it, but don't make it too generic. Try to make it sort of make yourself stand out and make them understand that you know who you're talking to. So do some research. There's nothing worse than when you don't know who you're talking to or what work they work on, or even if you go to the interview and they say, oh, have you looked into our website and know what we stand for? And it's not really great when somebody goes, no, I really don't know actually. Do your research. It's great to have somebody who's passionate and enthusiastic.
Cool. And then there's one more question from Camille. Sorry.
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's just so the question is it necessary to include a description in your portfolio?
Oh, this is a tough one. I say no, unless you can make it super cool and unique. I always find them a bit naff. That's my personal preference. I think if you got something to say that whether you're a music artist, a rapper, a TikTok influencer or whatever, then yeah, chuck it in if you think that it will help you. Because if you think about those skills, if you're talking about them, make them relevant. So if you're a TikTok influencer, you're great at editing, you're great at kind of producing or putting something kind of a video together. So they're quite cool skills. But stuff like, oh, I really like baking or something like that, I personally find them less relevant. I think if you're going to do it, it'll be like, how can you make it relevant to the job? So I think descriptions are like Marmite. People love them or they hate them. I hate them. So if you can make it relevant and unique, then yeah, definitely put it in. But I would generally skip past that anyway.
Amazing, thanks.
Cool. Okay. How to raise your profile then? So you're not going to get a job if you're not going to be seen. So firstly, you need to send out as many CVs and portfolios as you can. Connect with different agencies, connect with different people, get on LinkedIn, get on the dots, follow agencies, follow who you're inspired by, connect with people on Instagram. If you're an illustrator and you love an illustrator's work, follow them, tell them you love their work, tell them that you would love to kind of work with them or kind of go on a placement with them. So literally start connecting and create your own tribe. So think about the agencies or people that you want to kind of be around, understand that network, and then just kind of work with that. So how can you gain more industry insight? Finding a mentor is a great one. So you may not be able to, it's daunting going after these people and sending these emails or kind of messages. So a mentor can be a great way in. A mentor could be somebody who's worked in the industry for a couple of years or quite a long time. They would already have a network of people that they can reach out to that they could possibly introduce you to. Finding more about the industry. I spoke about kind of doing your research, making it relevant, understanding what different agencies do or what everyone else does. So do your research, do placements. That's like a great opportunity to kind of get in and show different agencies who you are. You know, even if it's a placement, you don't get a job. I remember doing placements and not taking the job or getting a job offered at one of the agencies, but then I ended up working with some of the designers at a later stage. So that is where networking becomes really important, which I'll come on to, because you never know where a connection or a conversation may lead. Don't feel pressured into just liking something because your friends like it. Be yourself and follow who you love, not who you think you should. So don't be afraid to be unique. So reach out to those people that you're inspired by, connect with them, whether it's just by following them so that you know what your interests are. These are also great things to say in your interview. Like, you know, I have been following this amazing artist. I saw them do this great installation in Iceland or whatever. You know, it's great. People love it when you're kind of interested and passionate about design and creativity. I want to work with someone who can tell me about different kind of creative outputs. So that's just a few ways how you can kind of get out there and put yourself out there and understand the industry a little bit more. Then showing your brilliance is all about self-promotion. I think I've talked a lot about how to kind of promote yourself. So self-promotion is key. So getting on LinkedIn, just by even following a company on LinkedIn or Instagram, you can then know what they're up to. So you can also comment on stuff. That is like promoting yourself and kind of showing people that you're around. So if you don't show someone that you're around, then they'll never know that you're there. So if you want to work for someone, if you love an agency or any company, then tell them, then go, I love the work that you type of do, you know, a dream company that I'd love to work for. You do the type of work that I want to work for. Let them know. So you really have to get yourself known. It's about creating your network and kind of putting yourself out there. And I think that really follows on how to raise your profile. You know, like the Dots I spoke about is an amazing platform to connect with other like-minded creatives. I found it an amazing platform to ask questions, get portfolio advice, advice on anything. So many people are willing to help. And if you reach out to someone, somebody will definitely come back and help, which is why I set up Good Nugget. We wanted to create an agency which was kind of to support people who didn't know what to do. I mean, if there was an opportunity like this when I started out, I think it would be absolutely amazing. This is just bits of information that I've learned on the way, but it's great to be able to offer that to people who are just breaking into the industry. So then that is literally just a really quick kind of overview on what I think that how you can kind of break into the industry. So that kind of gives us an opportunity to finish off on some questions and answers. We have an open door policy. If you ever have any questions, do feel free to kind of email us. Feel free to follow us on Instagram to stay up to date on when our next program is launched. Feel free to DM us and let us know if you have any questions or queries. We're always open. We may not get back straight away, but we'll definitely try to get back at some point. Shall I leave that up? Any questions? No.
I don't think there are any questions, but okay.
Can I ask?
I was wondering about.
Oh,
Oh,
sorry,
sorry.
Patrick.
It's wrong time. I was just wondering about how you can kind of like step up your networking game. So it's like you can obviously you can follow up from like talks like this and try and reach out to people. But is there ways that you can kind of like post on Instagram or LinkedIn? Like I've seen some friends who will be like resharing articles and maybe like kind of doing some like cross promotion stuff. I just wondered like what's your thoughts on that? And
so this all goes back to, I would say, where did I put that point? Follow who you want, who and what you love. So it's really important to associate yourself with people that you want to kind of be part of. So if you're an illustrator, then follow that illustrator, promote that illustrator. I am all about promoting creative talent. I don't want people to just promote themselves. I want to share almost the love. In our Instagram, we're all about promoting different people in the industry. We're all about promoting amazing brands, not brands that we've just designed. You know, we want to share everything or anything that's positive. So an opportunity is always to have a voice and just talk about, you know, I've seen this amazing piece of design. Then people might comment because you think that you've seen it, but not everybody else may have seen it or knew about it. So use your Instagram, use your LinkedIn, use the dots and go, oh, I'm like doing a project on eco soap brand. What's everybody's favorite brand? You'll get people kind of commenting and kind of engaging. It's great to kind of just create that network, and you'll find that a lot of people are always willing to kind of come forward and give some information. And yeah, definitely sharing on Instagram and LinkedIn is always a great opportunity to show people that you're active and that you're out there and that you're thinking about design or what's relevant or inspiring stuff.
Thank you.
That was great advice, and I think everyone on this call thinks what you're doing is really great, and everyone's really excited to like maybe tune in on the mentorship program, because I plan on doing that definitely coming September, because it sounds really exciting. And yeah, thank you.
Definitely. Well, absolutely, honestly, we'll be connecting with Sam at Tern Heads as well. So like definitely what we will be doing is like we would love everybody to be part of the program. And you know, I wish I could kind of launch 6 a year, but it is, what we're doing is that we're trying to create the best program to support as many people as we can. So definitely we would love for all of you to be part of it, and hopefully that we can match you up with a mentor.
Fantastic. Yeah, definitely. I've actually put the details in the chat for everybody. So if you want to follow Good Nugget on social media, and Leo as well himself, and also the website's on there as well to keep an eye. And can you register for the mentor?
So I think that you can register at the moment, or it might be on hold. I need to double check, so don't quote me on that. Okay. Because I think we're doing an official launch in 3 weeks when we kind of relaunch I actually do think it's closed at the moment, because we did an unofficial launch and we had over 100 people apply already, but we had to put it on pause because we're rebranding the program, and we're also rewriting the program. So we're rewriting it so that it's bigger and better and that it can support more young people. So I think it's on hold, so you need to stay tuned to like Instagram, LinkedIn, and we'll be connecting with Sam as well to make sure that everybody who wants to take part will know about it as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we'll be sharing it around our socials as well to kind of, you know, spread the word and stuff, because it's such a great, you know, a great kind of setup. And yeah, totally believe in the power of mentorship. You know, even setting up Tern Heads, I've benefited myself from mentorship from various different people along the way. And yeah, so it is definitely a huge benefit and bonus as well. Yeah, I just kind of I guess, yeah, just to say that I think the mentorship thing sounds ace. Please, everybody, do join our communities. As Leo said, you know, you can help each other as well. So, you know, please do dive into the Tern Heads and the Good Nugget communities. And yeah, just kind of share your thoughts, share what you're doing, what you're working on, if you want to collaborate as well, because collaboration is also another fantastic way to kind of build up your portfolio. You know, bounce off of each other for kind of strengths and weaknesses as well, to kind of up your portfolio game. Yeah, just want to kind of echo the whole, I think the reason why Leo kind of, you know, set up Good Nugget and I set up Tern Heads is because, you know we're not teachers, we're not trained teachers or anything, but we have our kind of lived experience in the industry. So, you know, definitely, you know, tag us in your work on social media. We will do our best to kind of, you know, give you some shout outs and share it across our channels as well. And yeah, if you like this, if you kind of like this event as well, our next one is on the 4th of August, same time, 6 o'clock. And that one is, our industry guest for that is Nathan, and he's the founder of Quickfire Digital. And he's going to be talking about what digital agencies look for in a junior web developer. So again, kind of going over the type of skills I think that, you know, you kind of need to show when you're sending off your portfolios to digital agencies specifically. But having said that, you know, a lot of these points, same as kind of what Leo's covered as well, you can kind of translate that to pretty much a lot of sectors in the creative industry. It's not exclusive to one. So yeah, do kind of jump into that as well if you can. And yeah, any final words, Leo?
I think the main thing for me is seeing a lot of CVs and portfolios is I see a lot of CVs and portfolios that are not relevant. I think I had a CV from a psychology student come through to Good Nugget, and I was like, I'm not actually sure what role you can do here. And the covering letter didn't cover that, what she felt she could do for us. So your work might not be relevant, but at least try to find a way that it can connect with them. So I always say that technical skills is definitely something that comes later. It's something that you can learn. It's all about creativity and imagination. We're all aspiring designers. I want to see your talent for being creative. So I would say don't worry about that. And technical skills are something that you could teach yourself along the way. I didn't know how to use Photoshop or Illustrator when I got my first job. Where at my uni, it was just something that they bolted on, it felt like, and I didn't know how to use it. And it was something that I picked up. And my first 3 months at this first job was where I learned how to use the computer. You know, I used to draw. I think I did mood boards in Microsoft Word when I was at uni. So don't worry about how technical skills, or you don't need to be the best at drawing. It really is about having big ideas. And I think that's what I feel people want to see. So make it relevant. If you're talking to someone, make it relevant to them. What is the story that you can help them tell?
Absolutely. Yeah, totally echo that. Yeah. Fantastic. Well, thanks so much to everyone for coming. Really hope this has been helpful. Thank you to Leo and also to our co-hosts Simone, Patrick and Tiffany. And yes, good luck to everybody. Keep applying, keep learning, and hopefully we will see you soon in the Good Nugget and the Tern Heads community.